What's up, everybody? Once again, it is I, James, coming to you from the Nerdy Mewzings podcast studio. I am joined today all the way 8 hours in the future in Ireland. Mr. Reese Hannigan is here. Officially my first Irishman on the podcast, I believe we were saying.
Thank you very much, James. Thanks for having me.
You said that's a badge of honor.
Badge of honor. I finally beat somebody to something.
You beat Danny Earls.
Beat Danny Earls. Beat Declan Shelby. That's a win.
You beat them as being the first Irishman on the podcast and beating them to being on the podcast, man, because we're still working on that scheduling. We got to rub that in on Danny so when he hears this, he's like, oh, man. That's awesome. How's your day going?
It's very, very good. I'm in the middle of third issue of the Bad Batch at the minute, and then looking forward to a little bit of a break for a day or two, and then back at it again.
Yeah. Do you get any kind of break around the holidays at all?
Well, I think Lucasfilm closed at about 18th of December.
Okay.
So, yes and no.
But deadlines.
There's no one. Yeah.
Deadlines don't take holidays.
I don't take holidays, but I mean, I can slip a bit of time here and there when editorial and Lucasfilm are all closed at Christmas. You can pick what days you want to work a bit more than.
Yeah. We're working on Bad Batch, man. That has to be pretty cool. Were you a Star Wars fan before getting to work on that? Because I'm like a huge I was born the year the first movie came out, to give out my age. I'm a 77 edition.
Well, I was one when Attack of the Clones came out.
Ah, there you go.
But
is that your Star Wars then? Do you identify more with the prequels?
Yes and no. So I grew up watching the prequels on DVD as well.
Okay.
So what was Revenge of the Sith was the first Star Wars movie I seen in cinema.
Oh, nice.
In
That's
05.
a good one to start with.
I love that movie to this day. But again, I prefer the original trilogy to Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones. Young me would have thought they were about too long movies to stomach through at that age, but I think there was just enough General Grievous and Revenge of the Sith to keep me going.
That's awesome, man. So you were a Star Wars fan and now you're working on a Star Wars comic. I mean, it has to be surreal for you.
It is because this is my second volume on the Bad Batch now. So first one was kind of that feeling where you're trying to just tread water with it and try and keep people happy. But now I feel like I'm trying to make a mark on the characters a bit more.
Did you feel like it took you a little bit to find the voice of the characters in how you portrayed them? Absolutely.
I would say the first issue, even the size, I kind of played with the scale of each character a lot in the first issue. And I didn't like that. I was trying to go for Genndy Tartakovsky's, I never can pronounce his name right, his Clone Wars, the micro series style at the start, trying to infuse that into my own art style. And I kind of didn't like how that was working out too much. So if you look at kind of the first couple of pages of the original series, some characters, but Wrecker in particular is a lot more bulky. I didn't draw him how I draw. He's a mountain of a man back then, but I've trimmed him down a bit. I think rewatching the show too, I could take the elements that I liked from the show and try and bring it to the art a bit more.
I was going to ask you about that, how much, having that kind of material to look at with the show, how much influence that had on how you approached the book.
Oh, it was a huge influence. So even for how the characters interact in their body language, a lot of the case, backgrounds and stuff, it does help to see how the ship looks and stuff in the background. Now, in an ideal world, you could just screenshot your iPad on Disney Plus and have a ton of reference, but unfortunately it's a black screen every time you try and screenshot in those apps. So
they have that on lockdown.
Yeah, so it makes it quite hard for me to pinpoint different scenes and stuff within the app. But there's a ton of reference online, so we can work with that.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was just listening to an interview that Terry Dodson did on another one of my favorite podcasts called Off Panel with David
Mm-hmm.
Harper. And he had Terry Dodson on, and Terry is a huge Star Wars fan too, and got to draw a Star Wars book. And he was talking about how, like, Lucasfilm kind of goes over everything with a
Yeah.
fine tooth comb.
Mm-hmm.
And he was very proud. I guess in all that he did, he only had one time. He said that's how big of a Star Wars nerd he is, that only one time they caught something that he got wrong and he had to change it. How's
Well,
that process been for you, going over all the, given that, Bad Batch is a little bit of a newer, less established thing,
yeah.
that's probably a little bit harder to find, volumes of reference on, like the older stuff in the universe.
I mean, I got like a fair share of notes, but like they're all quite minute notes. It's not something that like you're starting from scratch. Like the
Yeah.
Bad Batch have these like insignias and logos on their armor. Maybe I forget to draw one here or there on a scene, and then
Okay.
they'll go back and tell me, "Oh, you missed that there," or "That's on the wrong shoulder. It should be on the left shoulder, not the right shoulder." Because you're flipping your canvas all the time when you're drawing, you
Yeah.
forget which one's which. And like even stuff that they didn't catch, I seen when I went to print that I drew basically a character completely flipped. And
Okay.
I didn't notice till the book was printed that he was flipped in that image.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's funny. That's minor though. I heard
Yeah.
on that, when before Terry Dodson got on that series, that Gil Kane had done a cover for the book, and it was supposed to it was supposed to basically be, it was like a Star Wars Alien crossover or whatever. But when Gil got the assignment and it said he was supposed to draw an alien on the cover, he drew like a generic like alien
Yeah.
and
And
not
not a
the
xenomorph.
xenomorph.
It's easy done.
Yeah, that's great, man. Yeah. God, Star Wars is such a big part of my childhood. It sounds like it was yours too. And with Bad Batch, like, I don't know, like, people are very critical of like a lot of the new stuff, but me, even as an old school fan, I'm just like really happy that we have continuous new Star Wars content to
Yeah.
consume.
And like people complain about everything. Like
Yeah.
you watch what you want to watch, you enjoy what you want to watch. I don't watch everything of every show. I don't watch all the Marvel stuff. I watch, you curate what you want for your own watching experience. But like I really like what J.J. Abrams did with his movies. Not so much, I don't really care for the story but not as much, but I love the visuals. I love his directing
The
style.
visuals were amazing.
It's
Yeah.
beautiful to look at. So like I took a lot of that, especially in this New York Rogue Agents. There's a
Yeah.
lot of like inspiration for how JJ even like lit the characters and stuff that I try to bring
Really,
into this.
I really liked what he did with Star Trek too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think what
he did a good job.
he took the hyper realistic futuristic style from Star Trek and made it lived in then a bit more for Star Wars.
Yeah.
But it definitely looked really good.
Well, I feel like, we've kind of gotten ahead of ourselves a little bit, because I always like to ask our guests how they got their start in artwork and if comics have been a part of their life, since childhood. Surprisingly, some of the artists I have on like have gotten into drawing comics like later in life, which I think is really cool. But then a lot of people are that stereotypical, I've been drawing since I can remember. I've always loved comics. I wanted to get into comics. For you, what's your story in that regard?
I'd probably fall more into the second one where I've just always wanted to do this.
Yeah.
Like it's very hard to pinpoint what started it all for me because I was drawn from very young, like
Yeah.
inspired by stuff like Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon, like the animated stuff that would have been on around the time when I was growing up, or like the 2003 Ninja Turtles cartoon.
Oh, yeah.
That and like, but I would say like a lot of the things that inspired me came from everywhere. Like the scene from Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man movie where he's designed his own costume.
Oh, yeah. That was
I would watch
awesome.
that scene over and over again.
Yeah.
Thought it was so cool, and I would get like the paper that he would have drew that on, like that like checked paper,
Hmm.
and try and recreate that over and over again. But like stuff like that really inspired me. Just watching videos of people drawing was a big thing. Like here in Ireland, we had a man called Don Conroy, and he was kind of like Irish, Ireland's own Bob Ross
Oh,
in a
okay.
way. Well, he didn't do painting as much, but he just like taught kids how to draw. He's kind of been replaced now by Will Sliney. He's another Irish Star Wars
Okay.
artist. He's got a show now that does the same. But like watching a lot of that, and like there's a show over in the UK called Art Attack, and it was just all about art as well, and just like how you could use like poster paint and stuff to create these cool images and stuff. So
That's really cool.
that's, and then I kind of just fell into comics. Like every time a superhero movie would come out, I'd go to like the local grocery shop. We would have the British reprints of the Marvel comics over here. So I kind of just fell in love with those. The way it worked over here was the Avengers was one title, and then Wolverine and Deadpool was one where they had all the American Wolverines and all the American Deadpools reprinted in one book
Oh,
about
that's
a year and a
awesome.
half after you get them. So I grew up during like the Brian Michael Bendis like New Avengers era, and that's where the real spark for comics kind of came from there.
So was that David Finch on the art?
I think there's a lot of Mike Deodato was doing a
Oh
lot of
yeah,
the Dark
Diodato
Reign
did a lot of
stuff,
those. Yeah.
and who did Secret Invasion was Lineal U.
Diodato's very underappreciated in my
Yeah,
opinion. That guy's pretty brilliant. Yeah, and Lionel Yu was
yeah.
on the other one.
But Spider-Man from the British reprints was really cool because you got the current day Spider-Man story at the time. I think it was JMS, but at the back of the book, you'd get reprints of back issues from like the 80s.
Oh, nice.
And at the time where I started reading them was like 4 issues before Todd McFarlane took over being the main artist in
Sweet.
Spider-Man. So I just became obsessed with Todd McFarlane's
So I
art from
wore an
there.
appropriate shirt for our
Yes,
episode
absolutely.
then.
I need to get myself a few Todd t-shirts. But yeah,
Yeah.
so from there, then I was going on YouTube and watching like the comic book greats videos on YouTube with Todd, Rob, and Jim.
That's cool. You could watch them on YouTube. It's
Yeah,
come up on here many times that I have the VHS tapes still. They're back. You could actually see them. They're right there.
I would really love to get
Yeah.
my hands on them. I don't know if they made
Yeah.
it over here
They
or not, but maybe.
actually, my buddy, he flips stuff. He like buys
Uh-huh.
stuff and flips it on eBay, and those are actually they go for like over $100 for the
Really?
VHS on
You'll
yeah.
have to
But
hook me up with a link or something because I need to get at least one of them.
I'm not gonna get rid of them, man. Yeah, I would if you can find them on eBay. Like sometimes you can find them on there, but you were able to watch them on YouTube though. That's really cool.
Yeah. And the real cheesy videos that Stan Lee and John Buscema made for How to Draw
Yes.
Comics the Marvel Way.
Where
Like all
he's
that
not
stuff
even.
was,
Did you know he's not even actually drawing in that video?
oh yeah, no, it's all like staged,
He's
isn't
like
it?
it's staged. He's like not
Yeah.
even putting the pencil on the on the paper. Yeah, yeah. It's still
Um,
cool though.
yeah, it's really cool. It's just even cool to seeing a guy sit at a desk with all the tools you would kind of need as an artist in front of you.
Yeah,
Like obviously you guys would have had Wizard magazine growing up and you had all the pictures and that, but like I don't have any of that stuff. So it was a lot of whatever you could get on like 2010s YouTube.
yeah, yeah. You were lucky because kind of when you were hitting your stride, like really getting into it, you started having that resource of YouTube. But even back then, like that early, there wasn't a ton of like how to draw stuff. So
Mhm.
you were still pulling from more of the old school stuff. It's just people were converting it and putting it on
Mhm.
YouTube. I think Jim Lee probably was the longest time person when he was on, he first started on Twitch was quite a while ago.
So that would have kind of fell in. So like obviously like every teenager you fall out of comics for a few years. So
Right.
from like 14 to 17, I kind of fell out of comics. And I think Jim Lee kind of started doing the YouTube thing around, was it like 2017, 2018.
Okay.
So I was like 18, 19 when he started doing the Twitch streams. I was in college at the time anyway. And who else was doing stuff? David Finch had a few videos up at that time.
Yep. Yeah, he had the very
Um,
early stages of what he
mhm.
started doing on there. He was doing like the little mini tutorials and
Yeah.
things.
But there's, even at that time, there was still a good bit of like comic book content to watch. Like Richard Friend, the inker,
I
has a
love
great
Richard,
YouTube
man.
channel.
I've tried to get him on here. He refuses. He doesn't do podcasts. Yeah, I
He's
love
such a
his
good,
YouTube channel.
great teacher in art, I think.
Yeah. I've
He
actually
has some.
taken some little private classes from him for art
Oh,
and
really?
had him, yeah, I've had him critique my stuff and send feedback. He goes above and beyond. He was doing that on his Patreon for a
Hmm.
while, to where if you were on a certain tier, you could send him, and he'd be like, he would say it was going to be like, oh, you, for this amount, you get like a 15-minute video critique or whatever.
Hmm.
Bro, every video he did was like almost like 45 minutes, an hour
That's
long.
great.
And then he would send like links and resources and references and everything else. Just went above and beyond. I learned a ton from Richard.
Yeah, so like he's amazing. I just love him. Even like he's got a good eye for comic book art as well. Like I used to love watching the videos of him go through J. Scott Campbell's Danger Guard.
Yeah.
Those videos really stand out. I watched those a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, like everything podcast, I'd say Kevin Smith's Batman on Batman was a huge part of me becoming a comic book artist.
That's awesome. And when you kind of decided that that was the direction you wanted to go in with art, were you seeking any formal training along with the online resources that you were looking at?
Yeah, so I have a degree in animation.
Okay.
And like I went to college for it, but it was kind of like a local college. So like I lived at home at the time with my parents.
Okay.
But the college is about an hour and a half on a bus every day there
Oh,
and an hour and a
wow.
half back every day. So
Yeah.
I I would listen to those Fat Man or Batman episodes on the way, and then that would inspire me so much to go home then, or even during college then to draw. Like
Yeah.
I did everything I did was on comics. Like every module was based in comics. Even my final film for animation was like a
Oh,
motion
that's
comic.
cool. What do you find that you have taken from your animation training and applied that to the technical aspect of comics? I ask these questions as if I don't know the answer for the benefit of the audience, but I know there are a lot of very valuable animation
Hmm.
concepts that can bring a lot more life to comic book work. I know back when Ryan Stegman and I used to get on Skype back in the day and draw together, and he would always give me recommendations for books, and he was
Yeah.
always encouraging like looking at animation stuff. So, what do you feel as far as that training that you've been able to take and apply to your comic book work that's been beneficial?
Well, with like animation, doing like frame by frame stuff, you can see like what's the most dramatic
Yeah,
frame and what's the most least dramatic frame in a 1 second shot. And
yeah.
comic books is all about picking that one moment
So
to
like
portray
how
on a page.
we have our classic example in the How to Draw Comics the
Yes.
Marvel way of like at what stage in the
Hmm.
punch should you show it for the
To throw
most.
the punch, yeah.
Yeah.
And even just stupid stuff like in secondary school in Ireland, like you don't get digital art at all. Well, maybe it is now, but when I was there, it was very pencil and paper.
Right.
I didn't learn any of the Photoshop stuff till I went to college, and now I draw everything in Clip Studio. So like that I learned all those skills with Photoshop and
Yeah.
Adobe Animate and all those different apps you use in college.
Clip has made it so much nicer, hasn't
Yeah,
it?
it's been fantastic. Clips made my life. I'm not a Procreate guy. I tried that in college and I color in Procreate, but I kind of just faded away from that too when I got more comfortable with Clip.
Yeah. Yeah, Clip is definitely one of those things where you have every resource you need to make an entire book. Like you could literally make an entire comic like full production from lettering, coloring, penciling,
Yeah,
inking, page, you know, set up your pages,
PDF
every
it together. Everything you need
yeah,
to do is in it. Now,
everything.
to be honest, James, I'm not smart enough to do any of that stuff. I know how to draw on it and delete layers, and I know what I
I
know, and it does what I need.
I know how to draw. I'm basically familiar with the perspective tools
Yeah.
in there, and the panel tools, and I messed a little bit with the lettering on it, but yeah, it can do so much more than we even
Mhm.
know. Like every now and again, I'll pull up one of those YouTube videos of like all the things it can do, and it's mind boggling. And now the things they're doing with the being able to have the 3D figures for
Mhm.
reference
Yeah.
and just all built into that suite is pretty insane.
Yeah, they're all pretty cool. Even like all the apps you can use in tandem, like you can use, there's a whole lot of those different 3D apps and like SketchUp and stuff, and you can export those images in and bring them
Yeah.
back and forth, and
How
like every
much
so
of a
harmonious now.
how much of a disconnect did you feel when you were first transitioning, to a more digital workflow? I know for some artists, like it takes a while. The traditional feel, there's something about that feeling of the pen on paper and drawing traditionally. But for you, was it a pretty quick transition? I feel like the younger generation that had the digital tools, in their life for a longer period of time adapts to it a little quicker than the old guard. Did you find it a pretty seamless transition, or was there a bit of a learning curve there?
It wasn't too bad, to be honest. I was reluctant to go digital to start.
Yeah.
Whenever I first started like trying to draw sequential pages, I was very influenced by 90s art, and I just wanted to be a penciler like the 90s
Yeah.
artists. Like I wanted to draw like Brett Booth. Like my art style was very
Brett's
like a
amazing.
prototype Brett Booth work,
Yeah.
and he didn't use any. Like I asked him a lot of stuff online, and he never used any digital stuff. So I did everything traditionally. The problem was I was doing a graphic novel for a small publisher here in Ireland while I was in college, and like the classes I had, some of the days of the week were spread really far apart. So I think it was the first iPad I bought. I'd bring it to college with me and go to the library
Yeah.
in between classes. And I started off just doing rough layouts on the iPad, and then I'd print them out, blow them up and lightbox them onto my pages.
Right.
And then that became me drawing basically half pencil on the page, loose digitally, and then printing that, and then doing tight pencils on paper. And then I got to a stage where I'm like, why am I doing the pencil to paper thing?
Extra step. Yeah.
Exactly. And I went to Dublin Comic Con and got a portfolio review from Kevin Keane. It was before he broke in on Spawn and stuff too. He was quite early in his career as well. And he was telling me like, it's really cool to be a penciler, but the way things are going at the minute, you probably should be inking your own work as well.
Right.
And I took that to heart, and I thought to myself, the next book I do after I finish this graphic novel, I'm going to ink myself.
Okay.
And I wasn't confident to ink traditionally with
Yeah.
microns or nibs or anything at that point. So I just went straight to digital, and it was a trial by fire. I didn't know what I was doing on the first page, but I
Yeah.
figured it out by the last page, and I had
That's
a fair
awesome.
idea, and I haven't really looked back since.
Yeah, it's funny how you said that because it makes me not feel so bad because I'm way more comfortable inking digitally
Yeah.
because it feels less permanent, right? Like, and now I'm to the stage where I'm pushing myself to go back to traditional inking. I'm working on that piece back there because then I looked at, I watched Daniel Warren Johnson drawing on his Friday Lives, and I'm like watching him do
The
something
freedom.
like that. And then he just paints over it with light if he messes up and it's like, does it over. I'm like, okay, well, I don't have to look at this as permanent as I am, and trying to push back to the traditional a little bit, but I really prefer inking digitally. It's just it's such a nice workflow for me anyway. I think the trick is to be able to do it well enough that nobody can tell you're doing it
Yeah.
digitally.
I I am kind of between the fence now of where
Yeah.
I want to go with it. Like I have a decent enough Epson printer that wasn't quite working with my Mac up until recently. So I had fear to do pages traditionally in case it didn't scan right or they didn't print
Hmm.
right or I had issues. But I did a little bit of commissions in the summer. Actually, I did a lot of commissions, a lot of Star
Right.
Wars commissions. And basically that was my practice to see what I could do with traditional inks. Digital pencils and then traditional inks on top.
Well, then you
Um,
have something original to sell
yeah.
because that's
Well,
always
yeah, it made my life easier for commissions too.
it's the double-edged sword of
Uh-huh.
of having 100% digital workflow, right?
And then I did my first cover traditionally there recently. The Shredder cover I just put up last night online.
Yeah,
It
that
was
thing
the
looks
first.
amazing, man.
It's amazing. I'm very proud of that one. And that was my
Yeah,
first time doing a traditional piece in a long time.
nice.
Like that's my first piece I've done traditionally that's professional work.
Wow, that's a milestone.
Yeah, it feels great to know that it didn't turn out too bad.
No,
But I
it
could
turned
always go
out
back to
great.
digital or touch it up digitally if I needed to. Like I added some effects afterwards digitally, but
Yeah.
for the most part, it was all black and white.
Well, that's the thing. I think it's just having that freedom and being able to leverage all the different tools that are available to you, right? Like, it doesn't have to be solely one or the other. Like, you could take it, do, my buddy Dan Fraga calls it tradigital,
Yeah.
just jumping back between digital and traditional and having it be, affecting different parts of your workflow. But, one thing, when you mentioned Brett Booth and we were talking about Clip Studio, I wanted to make sure to mention, do you have the Booth inking tool on Clip Studio?
What's the booth thinking to?
It's a Brett Booth themed inking tool
Right.
for Clip Studio that a buddy of mine that I've had on the podcast, his name's Ed Lilly. He's an amazing artist. He just submitted a cover for that Ripaverse contest they're doing over on X. And he sent it to me after he was on the podcast because we were talking about Clip. And he's like, I'm going to send you some tools. And I sent him some of the ones I had. It is a Booth inking pen,
Right.
and it is phenomenal. Whoever
You'll have
made
to
it,
send
and
that over to me to
I'm
try
gonna
that
send
out.
it to you, buddy, because you're gonna dig it. Your all your stuff's gonna start looking like just like
Brett
Brett
Booth.
Booth.
Funny, Brett's
Somehow,
amazing. Every anchor he works
yeah.
with all do a
So,
different portrayal too from it.
somehow, however they created this inking tool, it like really gives the feel of his line work. It's really cool.
I'd be interested to try that one out.
Yeah. And then I'll take credit. I'm like, look at that thing he just did. He used the Booth.
I know that line.
I know
I'll have to
that
sign
line
your
right
name
there.
beside my name on all my covers.
Yeah, right.
And Brett's.
So you've been doing the Bad Batch stuff. You recently did the Shredder cover. What else is going on right now? It seems like you're getting more and more busy here lately. So what else do you have that I know there's some things we talked about that you can't talk about before we went on air, but what are some of the other things you're excited about that you're working on right now?
I have a good few covers coming out with Dynamite as well. One came out last week. I did a Terminator cover for
I saw
Terminator.
that.
Santa Claus is coming to town. I actually have it
Yeah,
here,
hold it up there.
and it turned
Yeah,
out pretty damn cool.
that turned out
So
really cool.
I have that, and then in 2 weeks' time, I did I did cover A on Peter Cannon Thunderbolt for Dynamite as well. He's like a Silver Age character. They bring him back.
Yeah.
So I did the second cover to the second issue of that. That's out in 2 weeks' time. And then I have Bad Batch out in New Year's Eve, issue one of that. I did the cover and I did all the interior pencils. And then I have another Terminator coming out on Terminator Metal issue 5. I think I'm the cover B or C in that. And then I did a Supernatural cover for Dynamite as well for their Valentine special.
Very cool.
That was really cool. Like I'm a huge Supernatural fan, and when I seen they
Nice.
had that book, I was like, right, I need to see if I can.
Did you get to draw the car?
I did. I have the car. I want
Nice.
Dean is my favorite, so I was like, right, Dean's front and center. I need to get the car in here, and I need to try and get Sam. So that was my three things I wanted to do. So I think I nailed it with that one.
Yeah. Sounds like you're getting a lot of cover work.
A lot of cover work. I didn't see it coming.
Do you have a favorite? Do you prefer sequentials? Like obviously both provides the different challenges doing covers and sequentials. Like do you love both equally or are you really having fun with this cover stuff?
Covers are really fun. I will say I do have fun with them because most of them take a day, even less for some. Like the Terminator didn't take that long, the first one, and the Shredder wasn't that long at all. But sequentials is where I like to be and where I want to be. It's what I prefer to do.
Yeah.
I prefer telling a story than showing you an image.
Right.
And it's the thing I want to get better at all the time too, is drawing sequential work.
Do you find that with the cover work, are they more critical? Like, are you having to send like a bunch of thumbnails for approval before you start, or do you just kind of send them your initial idea and get it approved? Like, I know every company is different as far as what they require in that. Is that you know, because the cover, like, that's the first thing we see on the stand sitting there or in the solicitation. Like, that can be the thing that really needs to grab you. So what's that been? Is it differed between the publishers as far as what they require?
Yeah, it does. Like for the Bad Batch cover, it was the first one I did, and I was very intimidated by the thought that I was doing my first cover on an issue one of a book that I was
Yeah.
drawing. So we did, I think I sent them 4 different covers, but it turned out
Okay.
there was a rule for the Star Wars covers that they couldn't have a certain thing on them.
Oh,
And
okay.
I had it on the cover, all the covers bar one. So never give a Bourne cover because there's a good chance they're going to pick a Bourne cover.
Yeah.
So they chose the most boring of the covers, and I started the cover and it wasn't going well. I wasn't feeling it, and I knew it wasn't looking great.
Yeah.
So I emailed back to my editor Spencer at Dark Horse and said, I don't feel great about this cover. It's not how I want them to look, and it's not cool enough. Can I go back and do a few more versions for you? And they were happy enough to do that. So
Nice.
I took the best of everything from all my favorite bits of all the covers and spliced them into what became the Bad Batch cover. Took out
Okay.
the pieces they didn't like, and they asked for 2 options with that, so I gave them a second option as well with that. And then they went for the first one I did of the second batch.
Oh,
But
very
with
cool.
Dynamite, it's been like I might send 2 of each, or even 1. Like the Supernatural was just a one and done. This is what I want to do. Actually, the Terminator one was the same, but like a few of them, I'll send different versions. And sometimes it's for the better because the editor will give
Yeah.
you a great idea for what's like my Terminator one. The second Terminator I did, Nate, the editor at Dynamite, has a big part to play. Like he gave me some good advice, and he's like, "Well, why don't we have 2 Terminator heads on that?" And it actually made the image look better than what I initially sent in thumbnails.
Oh, that's cool. So it almost
So,
became like a little bit of a collaborative process in that regard.
well, your editor is your best friend for that stuff because
Yeah.
they usually have good taste. Like they've chose you for your work, and then they're just giving you a hint on how this could be more fun. So
Right.
like taking their advice on is always a good thing. Like all advice in comics, I think is good to get it, even if it's not the right advice for you. At
Mm-hmm.
least you're hearing it out, and it might spark something else. But I'm working with another company at the minute doing covers, and I want to nail every cover I draw for this publisher.
Very
I'll tell you
cool.
afterwards, but
Secret
it's
publisher.
secret, but
Yes.
it's a
I
dream.
have my guesses, but yeah.
It's a
Nice.
dream come true. So um, I want them to be perfect, every single one of them.
Now, going back to your workflow, and when you were speaking about covers, you said you can knock out a cover fairly quickly and sometimes in a day, right? Which made me want to ask you, when you went from penciling only to also inking your own work, did that initially slow you down a little bit? Or did you just start simply like penciling looser and doing most of your finishes with the ink to save that time? Or because I know, like me, when I first started inking some of my work, I would like still do tight pencils, even though
Yeah.
I was going to be, because I was afraid to mess it up in the ink stage. Like for you, what was that process like?
Well, my pencils for digitals are the exact same as my inks in a way.
Okay.
I use the same brush. I just use a crow quill brush every once in a while when I actually do inks. But for the most part, there's a preset pencil in Clip Studio called Darker Pencil.
Mm-hmm.
When I ink, I make it black. When I pencil, I make it gray.
Oh,
But
there you
like,
go.
the Bad Batch, I pencil really tight for that. Like I probably
Yeah.
pencil a bit too tight. But it's because I love inking too that I want to show everyone. I want to show editors and I show my work to people.
Yeah.
This is what the finished piece would look like as well. So I like being tight with that. So it's not that big a deal. Like I can pencil a page in a day. So like doing a cover is a lot easier, even though I am changing the brushes I'm using here and
Right.
there. For the most part, it's the same process. And it's easier because like you have 5 to 6 panels on a page, but you only have one image to draw on a cover.
Yeah.
So it's not too bad.
Now, as somebody who is on deadlines, and this could get into advice for up and comers, like as far as how much work you should be able to produce in a day, ideally. Like for you, when you're working on a sequential story, are you aiming for that old school 1 page a day, or are there some days where you're aiming for one and then you're just in that flow state and you knock out a couple? Like, are you pretty consistent page a day guy, or does it vary depending on how rapidly approaching that deadline may be?
It definitely depends on the deadline. It depends if there's a convention. It depends if there's cover. So with the Bad Batch, I work another job as well. I still have my day job. I haven't packed it in yet. I'm still only within like a year and a month, or a year and 2 months into drawing comics professionally. So I haven't fully committed to giving up on the day job.
What's holding you back?
I'm saving for a wedding, so that's where it is. Priorities. Happy wife, happy life. But
yes, smart man.
I still the goal is always to do a page a day. Now, because I work the other job, it means I need to prioritize what pages I do when. So if I work in the other job, I give myself the easier pages, because when I come home, I get up early, and I get up 6 every morning to draw. Okay. So if I start that and I don't start working the other job till like 11, I get from 6 a.m. till 10 to draw, and then when I get home, I'll finish that page then. So I usually pick the easier pages where it's either talking heads or just simpler scenes. And then the days where I have my full time to draw is when I do the cool pages, or the page I want to put the time into. You
put that
not
energy,
that they're
all
not
your,
that the
all
other
page,
right? Not that they're pages I'm doing when I'm working are bad pages, because there's been some action pages I've done through that as well. Yeah. It's just the pages I know that need more time, that I need 12 hours for, we'll do it that way. No, that worked for me for the full first year. And then when I started Rogue Agents, I got all the cover work, but I would only allow myself to do 2 covers a month. So it meant that I just took one Saturday every 2 weeks to do a cover.
Yeah. So time management is a huge thing.
It kind of works, and it doesn't work all the time. Like New York Comic Con kind of messed up the whole schedule.
Yeah.
I kind of worked fast on issue 1 to make time for issue 2, and then you feel like you're ahead of where you are, and then you feel like, oh, the deadline's catching me now on the second half, so you really need to push it then to get that done.
Sneaks up on you.
Yeah, it sneaks up a lot quicker, and then you get sick or you're tired one night and you say, no, I'm not going to draw tonight, and then you're back to square one again. But I could do 2 pages in a day if it's needed.
Okay. How much lead time do they usually give you to, because I know a lot of times when something is solicited, like that issue's already been done and in the books for quite some time. Like, how much lead time did you give yourself, or did they give you, I should say? We're
months ahead. Issue 1 comes out on New Year's Eve, and I should be wrapped up, or near enough wrapped up on issue 4 by then. Now with Christmas, not everything will be corrected and notes will be given out by then, but I should have the lion's share of issue 4 finished by the time issue 1 gets in the customer's hand. So I finished issue 1 in August, so that's how far ahead we are.
Wow.
So it's a good head start, but we just got the inks back for all of issue 2 yesterday, and I've seen some pages be colored for issue 2 as well. So everyone's well ahead of where they need to be.
Very cool. Yeah. Ahead of schedule is nice. That way, if anything comes up, you do have a little wiggle room, right?
If there's a hiccup, yeah.
Yeah. Now, so we're coming up on the new year, and things aren't slowing down for you, it seems. No. You're taking on more and more work. You're doing commissions and all these things. Like, how? I know you're saving up for the wedding, but in a perfect world, when do you take that plunge into full time?
I'm hoping for January. So I'm hoping I may only have a month or 2 left. The other job's a sales job, and Christmas is a lucrative time to work. So we'll see how good Christmas is. If Christmas is really good, then January's it. If not, then February will be where I end it all.
Depends on how the work goes.
Yeah, and depends how busy I get for January with the comic stuff as well. So everything's going to plan. I've been saving for a year for this, so let's see what happens. I can go freelance then.
Yeah, that'd be really cool to see. Like, I'm interested to see when you jump into it full time if
Mm-hmm.
there's a shift, like even more improvement. Like, not that you're not doing amazing work right
Uh-huh.
now, but I know, like, for me personally, like, when I went all in on my occupation, like I was working two jobs, but then when I put all that attention into that one thing, like it just escalated like
Hmm.
tenfold, you know?
I think what I'm really looking forward to is having some downtime
Yeah.
because I'm 28. All my friends get to go out nights out, have a
Yeah.
few beers the weekend, and I'm sitting at home drawing as well, and I get maybe one night in the pub every
I
month
have
or
a
so.
feeling it's going to be the opposite. Given
Probably
my
more work. Yeah,
given my experience, we end up piling on more work to occupy
probably.
that time.
But at least I have the option if I want to take a Saturday night off
Like,
or
for example, my friend, this is my day off, and you're my second podcast. I've got a
of
live
three.
stream. I'll be editing videos.
I think
We
well,
find,
idle
but
hands will always find a way, won't they?
yeah, but you know what? I feel more fulfilled when I fill that time up with productive things like this. So I do think you need to have that balance as well, and give yourself a little bit of
Yeah.
that downtime every now and again, though. That's important.
It's very hard to turn the mind off when you're in that grind. So that's the problem
It
I think I
is.
have. Even when I do take a day off, I'm still thinking about what I'm going to do the next day or
Yeah.
the dread
Same.
of knowing you have to go back. Not that the dread of, because it's great. It's a great job in drawing comics. It's the coolest
Yeah.
job ever.
But you
But
almost feel guilty, right? Like it's
yeah,
like,
I feel like if you
yeah,
take a break during an issue, even take a day off to yourself, it does. You're like, oh, well, now I'm behind today than I would have
yeah,
been. But it's probably something that'll probably fade away with time. Like when I know for sure, like every month I'm able to hit the deadline, even though I did have a day off, the stuff will
yeah.
probably come up. But as long as I can prove that it's not that end of the world and you'll always hit your deadline, then it shouldn't
True.
be too bad of a thing.
Yeah. Well, we can't talk about time management without talking about Mr. Danny Earls,
Yes.
because that guy, he's in it full time now, and we see how busy he is, and just constantly leveling up and putting out amazing work and getting more and more of his dream gigs and everything. I know you were telling me, Danny, you felt like you owed him a little bit with your
Mhm.
success and everything. I wanted to talk about that a little bit. What role has Danny played in your art career, not only in comics, but just as providing an inspiration and seeing what somebody can really do when they buckle down and get to that grind like he has.
That's exactly it. Danny didn't really do anything but just be Danny. Like I got to a point where I was drawn for a long time and I wasn't breaking into comics and I felt like my art wasn't getting any better. I just hit a wall. I wasn't drawing as much as I should have been drawing like I do now. I was giving up on the dream in a way. And this went on for about a year and a half where I was drawing just so little all the time. And Danny broke in. I just met Danny the summer before he broke in. I was like,
Hmm.
that's an Irish guy. It's a guy I know. It's an entry point. And now Kevin Keane had done that a few years before that on Spawn. So like, it's not like I didn't know it was impossible for like an Irish guy to break into the American
Yeah.
comic scene. But there's just something about whatever Danny did that like lit a spark under me. And I know I'm not the only one. There's a lot of people who feel the same way. But seeing what he could do and how fast that like his career trajectory went, I just wanted something. I wanted to be able. I wanted to give it a go. I wanted to say that I tried my best to make that happen. And what I did was I made a portfolio. It was a Daredevil versus Venom sample pages, and I went to the
Nice.
same convention that Danny broke in at, which is Thought Bubble in England, and met a lot of great editors and writers and stuff. And eventually, people started reposting those portfolios, and it just brought more attention to me. And I kind of understood this is the feeling I wanted. I wanted to know I was doing something right or good or whatever. And
Yeah.
I feel like the work just kept getting better and better because I got so much good critiques and made a lot of good friends. And I felt almost a part of an industry rather just a guy drawing in his room hoping to be in an industry as well.
Yeah.
So that inspired me then to go to New York Comic Con, and then obviously I got full reviews of like Marvel and DC and a whole bunch of different companies from there. But Danny, all the Irish guys deserve their credit, but Danny's work ethic's fantastic. Another one is
Yeah, it's
Rory
crazy.
Coleman. He's another amazing artist, and he's got just as big a work ethic as Danny. And he's just so quiet about it all. Like, if you can see the hours he works as well, it's insane.
Yeah.
And it shows in the work. It's all amazing.
That's so cool. Yeah, they put the blueprint down. It's just a matter of if people decide to kind of follow it and are willing to put in the insane amount of work that it takes to level up and get to that professional level, right?
And I think too, like, they're all quite personable. I think going to the conventions and being a guy that you're not nervous to speak to a creator, and you basically are selling yourself at that point, and you are a salesman of your own art.
Yeah.
And having a sales background, I was always quite confident to just walk up and talk to people. So like, I had no fear about showing people my work, and I had no fear of getting the rejection of them saying, no, or I'm busy, I can't look at your portfolio. But most people will look at your portfolio if you ask. Like, you might get one or two. Like, I did New York this year, and I think I had one person tell me no. But it was a no, as in, I'm just busy right now. If you come back later, I'll look at it.
Right.
It's not the end of the world. But like, first year I went to New York was 2024, so last year. And like, I met Todd McFarlane and got a portfolio review from him. So like, it was insane. If you take the chance, you have to take it. Like,
the Todd father.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was amazing. Spent 15 minutes just talking to Todd about art and complimenting my art, and I got to talk to him about how much I looked up to him as well. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't know how much you've listened to the podcast, but Todd and I have crossed paths in the past, and it's my dream to have him on here again, have him on one day and get to talk to him again. Cause, I've talked about on here many times how I worked at the shop that he co-owned with his brother-in-law, and got to hang out with him when he would come in and do signings, and got to look through bags of his original art every day at work when I worked at the shop. And
that's insane. You have some great stories that he forgets, but you're probably
people are bored of my stories on here and probably don't believe me, but I get him on here. He'll remember the old days of the shop and everything.
I'm sure you'll refresh his memory.
Yeah, it'll happen one day. We'll get the Todd father on here. That was kind of one of the big goals, was to reconnect with him as part of this, because we have a lot of cool kind of shared history with that. He owned a couple of those comic shops and everything back in the day, which was really cool. Fun days, prime image boom days,
the busy days.
Yeah, the super busy days when those guys were, traveling everywhere like rock stars. They had
Hopefully that starts again.
Yeah, I kind of feel like it is a little bit, because Youngblood, the relaunch was the number one book for Image this month.
And the month before was King Spawn 50 as well. So
these books are doing pretty well.
Later,
the Rob and Todd show.
And Hush was this year as well.
Yeah, Hush was amazing.
Do you know what I mean? It's cool to see all these guys coming back. Not that they went away anywhere; they're just doing other things.
I feel like Hush would have made more noise. Hush 2 would have made more noise if Absolute Batman wasn't in play, because that really just took the world by storm. But Hush 2 is great. Like, I gobble it up because I'm from that generation of those guys, looking up to those guys. So anything Jim Lee's on a book, man, I'm getting it. If Todd came back, I'm all in.
Yeah, we all need a Batman Spawn crossover drawn by Todd, or Spider-Man Spawn drawn by Todd, probably more. But even if we got more Greg Capullo Batman Spawn books, that'd be what I'd be looking for from DC.
I love Greg, man. Yeah, Greg's in my top 5.
He's amazing. Him and Otley, all those guys. That, I feel like Spawn's had some of the best artists in the industry all working on it. Like, at the minute, like Steven Segovia on the Scorch is fantastic. And Carlo, like, all the guys that Todd is working from right now are all great.
Yes.
And then like Rob on Youngblood, he's got that amazing colorist with him
It's
now. Like,
fun,
so it's
man.
all
Yeah,
looking so
and when he
good.
does those, when he does the manga editions,
Yes.
I mean, I feel like, honestly, like his style is made for more that manga look.
Yeah, like
Because when
almost
they
like
do the
the
manga
TMNT
treatment,
original ones.
yeah, when they do the manga treatment on the Youngblood, those new issues, it's
Mm-hmm.
like really cool,
Because like
really cool.
even Rob's early work was all very manga inspired.
Very, and Todd
Appleseed and
too.
stuff like yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize how much influence they were pulling from that. Like if you go back and read old interviews, they talk about it all the time, but I don't think people really pick up on that's where they were taking a lot of their inspiration from. Speaking of inspiration, so we talked about Danny, but who else in the current times are you really looking at? I have a feeling some of the obvious ones are going to be in there, like the Daniel Warren Johnsons and stuff, because they're like so prolific. But
Yeah,
whose work do you look at these days that you really dig?
always love Ryan Stegman. He's an obvious one,
Yeah,
I think. His Venom run's fantastic. It's one of my favorite runs of comics ever.
I
At the
love
minute, though,
Stegman.
love Pepe Larraz.
Pepe's killing
Pepe's
it on that
fantastic. Pepe's
Spider-Man.
he's my Star Wars guy. I look at his Kane in the Last Padawan all the time. So much clone
Yeah,
troopers in that. So like it's almost just that era of Pepe Larraz I'm always looking at in Star Wars. But I'd say my main three guys that I look at all the time is Alessandro Capuccio. You get there's a midnight above me there.
yeah.
And Marco Cacchetto on Ultimate Spider-Man as well. And Ivan Coelho, who was
Oh,
the
Ebon's
Venom artist,
amazing.
fantastic and the nicest guy ever too.
Nice.
Those are my big three at the minute. Those are the guys I aspire to draw like. If I could
And those are
mash them all
all,
together.
I want to say those are all fellow Clip Studio guys too, most of
Yep,
them.
I think so. Well, Alessandro stuff is a lot of it's watercolor paper, and
That's
he just
true,
gets
yeah.
amazing textures on it. Like I just got the
I
Ultimate
think,
Wolverine Artist Edition,
yeah,
the Italian version, and it's amazing to look through that, study that.
you just made me aware of something I didn't know existed.
Oh,
And
there's a ton of them. There's a ton of these
now my
Italian artist
pocket,
editions.
now
Amazing.
my pocketbook is gonna hate you.
The shipping's insane on them, though. That's the only
I
thing.
was telling my last guest that the whole top of this shelf is IDW stacks of IDW artist editions. So there's like 12 of them
Well,
up
let me
there.
show you. I actually have the Wolverine one here.
Yeah,
So like
please.
it's not full like 11 by 17, but like it's bigger
Yeah,
than a normal
but see,
comic.
that's better for me because I'm running out of room and this shelf's about
Absolutely.
ready to collapse, you know?
So I was in Italy on holidays and I got a few of them there. And then Igor Monti, the guy who colors all my covers, he is Italian and it was cheaper for him to order the Wolverine to his house
Ah,
and then ship it to me than it was for me to ship it to Ireland.
oh,
So
wow.
having a guy on the inside is always good to
You
have
got
too.
the hookup.
I got the hookup now.
That's awesome, man. Well, as we wrap it up here at the end, I want to give you an opportunity to let everybody know where they should be following you so they can keep up to date on all your projects and also they can hit you up when you open up commissions and all that good stuff. Where are the best places to find you online?
Absolutely. So on Instagram at Reese Hannigan Art and then Twitter, I think it's at Reese Han Art. I have
Okay.
so much coming out at the minute. Got to design some cool characters for Star Wars. So there's gonna be a lot of cool posts to come in the next few months when I can start showing
And
some of the
yeah,
secret stuff.
secret stuff that we're going to talk about
Tons of secret
afterwards
stuff.
that you
Yeah,
guys don't get to hear about, that I get the benefit of hearing, that we will talk about the next time we have you on the podcast.
definitely. I think we
have
need
you
a
on the
part two.
podcast once it can be announced, right?
Yes, absolutely. I think we definitely need to talk about some of the stuff.
Awesome, Reese. Well, man, I could have kept you on here all day. I know it's late there and you put in a very full day today. I just want to thank you for coming on, man. Thanks for reaching out and let me know
Thank you
you
for having me
enjoyed the
too,
show.
James. It's been amazing.
My first Irishman on the podcast. He gets
Finally
the
won.
award. Take that, Danny Earls. Danny, we got to get you on here, man. You can't let Reese. Let's not let Reese get on here a second time before we have you on. We can't let him rub that in your face.
And he'll show you all his amazing art, and then it'll all be
It'll all be put into perspective.
And he'll have 3
right?
or 4 parts ahead before I get my second part. Then
we will be snapped back to reality at that point, right?
Yeah.
Awesome, Reese. Well, thank you again, brother. Hang out with me for a moment while I talk to everybody listening. Everybody, thanks for tuning into the podcast. I greatly appreciate you guys. Make sure you go follow Reese and everything he's doing. I'm going to put all the links in the description. As you know, since you're listening or watching, you can find the podcast on YouTube or Spotify in the full video version. You can follow us anywhere on social media at Nerdy Mewzings. If you want to show the podcast a little extra love, you could be one of the first Patreon members. Get your name set at the end of the show. Get a bunch of bonus episodes, the lost episodes, recordings that didn't fully make it to air, and all sorts of other goodies. You can find that at patreon.com/Nerdy Mewzings. And in the meantime, everybody, keep it nerdy.